This interview with Buster Douglas, and later with Bob Costas, aired on February 19th, 1990, days after Douglas had taken the heavyweight championship from Mike Tyson. Fun fact, Mike Tyson was my neighbor when he was heavyweight champion of the world. Don King, of course, controlled his career at that time and had him living in the penthouse apartment in a building on Van Aken Boulevard in Shaker Heights, a couple doors down. I remember walking up to go to the Asian restaurant at the corner, Pearl of the Orient, for those who know, and the old ladies from Tyson's building yammering about how his entourage would just push them out of the way to get the champ on the elevator. Nice guy. Well, you know, he is. It's the other people around him.
Up later, one of us is the heavyweight champion of the world. As you attempt to determine which, we welcome James Buster Douglas, and I guess it's given away by the fact that you're wearing the WBC belt.
No, this is the IBF.
Oh, that's the IBF belt.
The International Boxing Federation. This is the only box sanctioning body that had said I was the heavyweight champion of the world right away. No hesitation.
Yeah, immediately they did.
Immediately.
Do you have the WBC belt, though?
Well, I have the WBC belt, yes, and it was taken by someone in my entourage off the table and given to me in the ring.
Now, eventually, after balking for a while and throwing the whole thing into some doubt, the WBC and the WBA and Don King and Tyson have all gotten in line. They say, yeah, you're the winner.
Right.
We withdraw the protest. Everybody recognizes you as the heavyweight champion of the world.
Right.
But the expectation is that you'll fight Tyson next. Is that guaranteed?
Well, no, it hasn't been guaranteed. My manager, John Johnson, has yet to sit down with Don King and his people to discuss the whereabouts and the what's, ands, and buts about what's going on.
Now, as we tape this, it's airing on a Monday night. We taped it last Wednesday, and we just got the information that Vegas has put out preliminary odds on a rematch between you and Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you were off the board. It's the biggest upset in boxing history.
Right.
When you beat him in Tokyo less than a week ago.
Right.
Okay? The odds now, they say, are somewhere between 15 and 18 to 1 in his favor. So he's still overwhelmingly favored to win the rematch. Do you feel slighted by that?
No, I don't. You know, it's always been jaded, so to speak, about, going into fights, always been the underdog, and that's been a positive for me. It's been a motivator, what makes me want to win it that much more. So I don't have any animosity towards anyone as far as that's concerned, but it helps me. It helps me prepare because they still doubt me. After that exhibition that I put on, February 11th, by beating someone that was supposed to be so invincible, and yet they're still doubting me. I have no problem. I have all the hardware. I'm the heavyweight champion of the world.
Here's something that I think, unfortunately for you, has been lost in the shuffle a little bit because of all the immediate post-fight controversy and people saying, hey, what's Don King trying to do? He's trying to steal the belt back. Mm-hmm. And that became the focus. Mm-hmm. People who haven't seen it yet may not realize how good a fight it was. You weren't just effective that night. Tyson, although he might not have fought his best fight, didn't roll over for you either. He showed heart. He took a lot of punches. That was a good, entertaining fight.
Right, Bob, and also, Tyson fought a great fight. See, people fail to realize, because they're so used to him going in there and destroying guys, being on the up on every fight. But it was my ability and it was my technique that offset Tyson. And Tyson was at his best because the shots that I knocked him out with late in the fight was the same shots that I was hitting with early. And it seemed to have no effect. But through my experiences in boxing, I know that the more rounds you go, it's better for you, because guys over 200 pounds are strong early in the fight. And he was taking the shots real well early on. And it was always a situation where they thought Tyson really didn't have a chin. He has a heck of a chin because he was taking the shots early, and it's like, accumulation of punches. And then when I came back out there in the 10th round and picked up the pace and started landing with my big shots, I started seeing an effect. We all did. He went down from it. But Tyson came to fight. He was prepared. And he can't deny the fact that he wasn't in shape. He came in at 220 pounds, 221 pounds, perfect fighting weight for him. You know, he came to fight. It was just that James Douglas also came to fight. And I really resent the fact that people want to say that he underestimated me. He was a true champion to the end. You know, the young man fought hard, and I just like to say that, you know, he came to fight. You know, he came to fight. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. And James Douglas did too. If you want to say someone wasn't 100%, I wasn't 100%. I had a touch of the flu. I was dropping penicillin like cough drops, like candy, and taking antihistamines. Had a swollen throat, sinuses was all congested. I was the one that wasn't 100%. I was the one under medication.
At what point in the fight could you see that you had really gotten his attention?
That I had gotten his attention.
And respect?
I really didn't feel like I had gotten his attention. I think I felt that in a sense that I was, you know, doing real well, you know, because it was going into the 8th round. And I think I kind of got a little lax and started stepping back and looking at my work. And that's when I got caught with a good shot. And then I had to suck it up and just regroup and get back into my game.
When you went down, how quickly could you have gotten up?
I could have gotten up right away.
You could have gotten up like at 3?
Right. Well, no, I picked the count up at 6. You know, by the time the referee came over and was over top of me, he was at 6 when I finally picked the count up. But if he was at 8 or 9, I could have jumped straight up. But by it being 6, I just had time to, you know, ponder my thoughts for a second or two. I was surprised. Basically, I was I was surprised and upset because it was. If you see the tape, I had hit the canvas like to say, you know, dang. Then I got up and was ready to go, and then the bell rang.
Suppose the bell hadn't sounded.
The bell hadn't sounded.
Would he have been in position to follow up?
He was through. When I had gotten up and looked over in the corner, because after I had gotten up, I immediately picked up Mike Tyson. And I looked over there, and he was standing over like, geez, you know, he's, you know, the nightmare has returned, you know. You know, I was ready. Because the bell rung, I went back to my corner, I got my instructions, and I came out, and I won the 9th round big. Mm-hmm. If I was hurt, I would have been still shaking out cobwebs.
And then knocked him out in the 10th round.
And then came back and destroyed him in the 10th. I would have knocked him out in the 9th, but I missed him with 2 big shots, 2 big right hands, so I had him on the ropes. I hit him with a good shot and hurt him, and he went back, reeling back on the ropes. And when I went to, you know, finish him with the right hand, I kind of reared back, you know, to cock it to put a little bit more on it, and I missed him. You know, I missed him a couple of times.
Are you aware of this? I timed the Tyson knockdown. When you knocked him out,
question, right.
I timed it off the HBO tape. Yes, your count was a little bit long, although it's very clear that you could have gotten up way before the count of 10.
Right, I didn't get up on those shaky legs or anything.
Right, you could have gotten up almost any time you wanted to, but yes, the count was about 3 seconds long. But by my stopwatch, Mike Tyson was on the deck 14 seconds when the referee eventually said 10.
Well, I noticed, and from the time when I first knocked him down, I immediately went to the neutral corner. Then I went to the other corner. Then I got back and was in between 2 corners. And all that time, you know, he studied counting. And I know it had to be 10 to 12 seconds had to elapse in that a period of time.
About 12 hours after the fight, you told me by satellite from Tokyo that your respect for him had gone down because he had not acknowledged what had happened. He was sort of saying, well, I'm still a champion. But that's changed now. Now he has flatly said, hey, I lost, no excuses. So how do you feel about him now?
Well, I still don't. I really never had a lot of respect for Mike as a champion. But I was, at the time when I had spoken to you, I was upset about what I was speaking on was the fact that he had, you know, denied the fact that well, it was like he was whining. Well, I knocked him down first before he knocked me down, so I should be the winner. You know, that's bogus, you know, come on. That's whining, just something you would hear on a schoolyard, playground, you know. I knocked him down first, and I should be declared the winner, you know.
Back with the heavyweight champ, Buster Douglas. We found out the other night from Tokyo that you were fighting with the memory of your mother right in the front of your mind because she had passed away only about a month before the bout.
Yep, she did.
How did she feel about a career in boxing for her son? Obviously, her husband had been a boxer too.
Well, she was all for it, you know, as long as I applied myself. and did the things that I was supposed to do. It was times that she had doubted, or when she seen how I was losing focus. But that was early on in my career. And I was maybe not doing the things that I should be doing, staying out a little late, you know, where she could actually see it. That's when I was staying home, living at home. And I would be hanging out and knowing that I would have to get up in the morning, supposed to run. And, you know, and she would see some things like that. And she questioned why, you know, if I wanted it or not.
Were you close to her
Very
until
close.
the day she died?
Yeah.
How were you able to continue, knowing that the biggest fight of your life was just in front of you? You had to continue not only physical but mental preparations, and now your mother has died. How were you able to keep your focus?
Because I know that's what she would want me to do. She was very strong, you know, and it was times that I wouldn't even realize how I would lose sight of how sick she was, because she was strong. I mean, she never was laying around like, oh, I just don't feel like doing anything today.
What did she have? How did she die?
Well, she had high blood pressure, and she was having seizures.
How old a woman was she when she passed
She
away?
was about 46. Yeah, 46.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Your relationship with your dad, he was once your manager.
Mm-hmm.
And several fights ago, you moved to John Johnson, and obviously
5 years ago, actually.
It's worked out well.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a rift between you and your father?
Well, I think that, you know, the focus there, we weren't on the same, you know, it was best that we separated due to the fact that, you know, that I wanted to be more creative. You know, he was more so wanting me to be like him in a sense, fight style. And I felt a little tension as that was concerned.
Your father was once a fighter. In fact, got ranked as high as 5th in the middleweight division about 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was even 3 at one time.
He was a bull, straight ahead, aggressive
yeah, you know,
kind of fighter.
He was like, well, you know, let's meet in the middle of the ring and let them fly. And I'm the one that likes to hit and not get hit.
Did he mismanage you, do you think?
No, I just think that it was just best that we, you know, part ways, you know, because I think that we weren't, you know, it was, I don't know how to say this, it was that the goals were different, you know.
Sort of on different wavelengths?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you get along with him now?
Yeah, we get along with each other great, you know. It's just that, you know, sometimes, you know, this is brought up and, you know, it kind of makes it, you know, but, you know, I've learned to, you know, basically deal with it. You know, it's a part of James Douglas, you know, it's a part of his life. It's a part of the struggle that he had gone through. And, you know, I think he's starting to realize that, you know, it's not something that can be just ignored, you know what I mean? I mean, it's something that happened in the course of the time that made James Douglas become heavyweight champion.
So he has a piece of it. More than just being your dad, he contributed in your mind.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, my fight is my father's fight. You know, I go in the ring, man, and I'm no longer James Douglas. I'm the son of Bill Douglas, you know, and that's something that I take into the ring, you know. And that's another thing, you know, that's like, I'm not going to fear this man. My father feared no man, you know, and his father feared no man. I mean, I'm a Douglas, you know, and the only way that, you know, I'm going to be proven wrong is by you beating me, you know, and it's not going to be easy, you know, and that's the attitude that I take in the ring. You know, I'm a Douglas, and I've watched my father fight guys, man, and you know, destroy them, and guys are supposed to have been really tough, you know, in their careers. You know, it was guys that the reason why he never got a shot at the title was because it was ducking and dodging, and he didn't have the money behind him to draw those guys in, and where they couldn't avoid him because of the money factor.
The morning after you beat Tyson, we hooked up with your dad from your hometown of Columbus, Ohio. So I'm talking to Billy Douglas on NBC, and first thing I see right away is this is a tremendously colorful character. He was very funny, and he was telling me colorful stories about how he used to train you and about his own career, and described himself pretty much the way you described him. Straight ahead, he said, well, I knocked out 100 men.
Right.
And when I walked into a room, people turned and looked at me with
and
respect.
that's the attitude that he had. And now how can I be his son and not have the same attitude? But what it is that people don't realize that, you know, I'm that man's son. The apple don't fall too far away from the tree. But it's just that I'm in a different format. I'm a little lower key than he was. You know, he was like that all the time, you know. It was all the time. And people see me, you know, how you doing, you know.
Yeah.
And
I could show you some of his flights of fancy and some of his strategies about boxing. But take a look at this. And until now, I don't think you've seen this because you're just now back in the States. This is from about a week ago on NBC. And I asked, I asked your dad if you and he had communicated by phone while you were in Japan. And that's where his answer begins. And watch where it goes from there.
He called me there and said he ready to come home. And I said, well, you did it? He said, yeah, we did it. And he just main thing he ready to do is come back. He know what he went to do, and he come to do it. He said he want to get out there and see the Japanese, have to good kashi-rashi, whatever, and go on and go back home. James Douglas is one of the most outstanding I can't say no.
He said it was the happiest day of his life.
Yeah. It's great.
Earlier you were saying you never had much respect for Tyson as a champion. I assume that means not as a fighter. A sane man would have to respect him as a fighter, but you didn't approve of some of the ways in which he conducted himself, right?
Right. No, I didn't like the way that, you know, he was, when he was champion, he held his regime. I don't like that. I didn't like it at all. Because of the, you know, you have youths that are looking up to him. And, you know, he was basically running around disrespecting people, you know, and misusing his power that he was given. And I didn't respect that at all.
Think he'll be
humble? I thought that was a weakness of his. I really don't know, and I don't care, you know.
How do you think a rematch might go? Obviously, you think you'll win, but how do you think he'll approach it different in terms of strategy, and what would you do differently?
Really, I would come in lighter. I would come in even lighter, and, you know, fight just as harder.
You'd have to come in with tremendous confidence. I mean, you weren't afraid of him from the get-go last time.
Right. I think it would be the 10th round in the first round, or the 9th round in the first round, where it would just be coming out, you know, door blowing, and just blasting away. Right, because I didn't respect him in the first time, you know, and I don't respect him now, you know, because of how it all ended. I'd have had more respect for Mike. I'd have gained more respect for him if he would acknowledge me right off, be it that Don King had started that and he just jumped on the bandwagon. If John would have done something like that, I'd have said, John, let it go. You know, I'm a true champion, and I can't go out like that. You know, I'll just get him in the rematch.
Now, people are talking about June, but I was talking with John Johnson, your manager, and he's thinking September at the earliest. Obviously, you're going to part of that time is going to be taken up in training, but I'd assume that some of the time you're going to try and enjoy yourself and maybe cash in a little bit outside the ring.
Right, exactly. Because it's been a long time coming, you know, and now, you know,
you're 29 years old.
29 years old, and see, there's only 2 more fights for James Douglas, and that's Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson. You know, whichever comes first, but those are the only 2 fights for James Douglas. And then that's it.
You'll retire?
I'll retire. Heavyweight champion of the world.
If you fought and beat both Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, you'd quit.
Right.
What will people find out about you as they come to know the heavyweight champion of the world that you think will be interesting?
I'm a caring person. And
you have a college education, which is rare for a boxer.
Right. And I may even go back to school and finish and receive my degree.
In what?
Physical education and law enforcement. Because I wanted to, and I still plan on working with the youth, or tomorrow, because I know how much it meant to me when I think with all the little league teams and recreation departments that I had, the paths that I had crossed had helped me become the man that I am today. I had people to look up to, positive influence. I think it was now, the governments are taking away from that, the fundings for youth, and it's leaving them out in the streets, and it's like idle mind is the devil's playground. And I think that I could make a very strong impact on today's youth.
How mean were the streets of East Columbus, Ohio, when you were growing up? What kind of environment?
They were mean, but see, you had a choice. It was either hang outside and throw rocks at cars, or go inside and be productive. And the choices were, I think, more of the youth that I came up with went inside. There's a lot more to do. You had in the recreation departments, you got, you had, basketball, arts and crafts, billiards, ping pong.
So you didn't have a criminal record and run-ins with the law and that sort of thing?
No, and I think a lot of that was contributed to my dad because I was afraid of, I'd rather mess with the police than mess with him.
How much different do you feel as a person than before you went over to Tokyo?
A slight different, but it hasn't totally sunk in yet. And I still, when we on our way back, we flew from Tokyo to Chicago and got off the plane, and I was expecting, like any other fight, just to get off the plane and blend in with the crowd, and here it is. I'm running into a mass group of reporters and cameras, and the same today. When I came into New York, it was the same, and it's kind of like, what are they doing there? At first, my reaction, and then it's like, heavyweight champion of the world, and like, it hasn't totally sunk in.
There's a good ring to it, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And what really has a good ring to it is when they say, champ, how you doing, champ? It's like, has more meaning.
Congratulations, champ.
Well, thanks.
You earned it. You won it in the ring.
Well, thanks.
No one can take it away from you.
But I'd like to also present you with an official, only my best James Douglas cap.
Got to get the little bend in it.
Yeah.
There we go. Fortunately, it's adjustable, so I can tighten this baby up.
Oh, yeah.
Just look at that camera, champ, and say, see you later, and we're out of here.
See you later. Konnichiwa.
Thank you for watching Cleveland Live Music. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. And there's GoFundMe and Patreon information in the video descriptions. Thanks for making the channel grow so much.